All right. Who has that first question?
I have a question.
You got to speak up a lot louder, T-Fed, please.
I have a question.
All right. I'll do my best.
I would like to know more about bilocating. Bilocating?
By location. Okay. I'll give you an example. One night, I was laying in the bed. It must have been 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It was pitch black at the height of darkness. And I was doing the Om chant. And through my blinds, I could see what looked to be a very bright star. And I found it was a craft. And it came closer and closer to the window. Bigger and bigger till it was right outside my window. And someone kept telling me to turn around because I had my back turned to the bedroom door, but I was afraid to do it. So I finally turned around, and there suspended in the air about 3.5 feet off the floor, smaller than a basketball, was this big ball of white light. And it was animated. I mean, when I looked at it, whatever it was, I knew it was realer than existence than life itself. I knew that was life. It was real in what's around me, what I have, real in all my experiences. And so it was slowly moving closer to me. And as it got closer, it started manifesting into a being. Now, it was between me and the only door out the bedroom. And the nigga just poured out my pores, and I got scared and started grabbing a 9mm, a pistol. And as soon as I had that thought, it started slowly moving back through the door while it was pulsing. The door was locked, and it moved through the kitchen door. I saw it in the kitchen just like I did when it was in here, like there was no wall or door. It passed in front of the refrigerator, and it was like there was no refrigerator there. And I saw it go away. And I realized, as soon as you came in, I hear that voice on the phone, Harry. You gotta stop doing that. All right. And I realized that I was trying to figure out, was that like me or was it Malachi? I know he always told me in letters and in person always, and in books, that he and I are one. But I was confused. I knew it was one of us, either him or me. But I knew it was, I believe it was me. And that would be an example of bilocation. You follow me? In other words, when you have an OBE, and you outside your body, and you turn around and look at your physical body on the bed, you have bilocated. Especially when both aspects of you retain consciousness. You know what I'm saying? In other words, the ball of light was conscious of me, and I was in my body consciously looking at it. So I was in two places at once. You follow me?
Yes.
And that's not that hard to do, because you're at least a dual entity already. Remember I told you when you're in the kitchen, you're trying to decide on what you want to eat for lunch. You open up the refrigerator and there's a pig foot and a salad right next to it. And you got a taste for a pig foot with barbecue sauce, right? And your hand reach for it, and your higher self tell you, no, you don't need that. Get the salad. It's healthier. And you say, so I'm a grown woman. I eat what I want. And you go back and forth like the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the next, until ultimately your free will is decided on which you're going to eat. But in the meantime, your voice, the argument gets so heated until your child in the next room say, Mama, who you talking to in there? And you say, you caught me. I'm in here talking to myself, child. So that your spiritual or higher self and your physical self get into arguments. But there's the duality right there. Now, the only thing that you're asking me is it possible for the inner being, the spiritual body, to separate itself from the physical form? And the answer is yes. And the OBE is evidence of that. So to bilocate simply means for the inner being to separate from the outer being. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
In fact, you can be in multiple different places at once. Because of quantum entanglement, you don't have to be just in two places. You know? If you have more questions, just turn it and ask me.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, like, that and when a person daydreams and somewhere else and they come back. Or, like, you know, you're sitting down in the room. So, wait a minute, you know, turn thing may have had you to remember what happened because, you know.
Wait, slow down and turn up the volume.
Yeah, the same, like, last class we had, I think it was a nucleus, I think. She was saying how she was sitting on the couch and her sister walked over to her niece or whatever, came back to sit down. She did not recall, you know, that happened at that point in time. And you said she had bilocated. We had this conversation last class.
Yeah, I know she bilocated. She was saying one time she was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and she was about to take a shower, and she was in the bathroom getting ready for the water to heat up and had her foot on the tub. But that at the same time, she knew that she was walking down the hallway of her house. And in fact, that she was walking, she started levitating off the floor. But she was conscious, both aspects of her were conscious. The one in the bathroom and the one walking up the hall, they were both conscious simultaneously. That's exactly what bilocation is. Bi just means two, like bifocals or bicycle. Go ahead.
No, that was me in the last class. I testified. That was my testimony. The last class that we were on. But that's fine. I'm sorry for the interruption.
It's not an interruption. I mean, if you have something to add.
Okay, yeah,
but,
that was my testimony.
Okay, about bilocation?
Yes.
Could you repeat that?
Yes, I testified that I was in the living room sitting next to my daughter, and my granddaughter was on the other side of me, and we were sitting. She wasn't feeling well, and I had suggested that she give the baby some medicine because she had a slight fever. And so I was sitting right next to her, and the baby was started to cough, and like I said, she was feverish. So I said, when do you plan on, it was like 5 or 10 minutes had passed. I said, when do you plan on giving her the medicine because she's not feeling well? She said, I already did. She said, you were sitting right there next to me when I gave it to her. And she looked at me like, where were you? I'm sitting right next to you, and you didn't see me give her the medicine, which I didn't. I didn't see her give her the medicine. So.
Okay.
And that's what you said, that was...
Yeah.
An aspect of your being had... Your conscious in one aspect of your being was focused somewhere else.
Yes. That's what you said. It was by location.
Okay. All right. So to make it clear to everybody, is when you come out of your body, OBE, out of body experience, for whatever reason, and both aspects of you are conscious. Your physical form and your espiritos, your spirit. You follow? That's what bilocation is. Is that clear, Atifa?
Yeah, I'll think about it. We have to, like, process it. Thank you.
If you have more questions, just ask them. All right, who has the next question?
I have one.
I'll do my best.
Are any of the beings able to ascend out of the earth plane without divine love?
Without divine, no. Divine love is the only reality. Everything else is mere illusion. Quite a few people live in a lie, Noah. They're having a dream, a phantasmagoria that's going to turn into a nightmare very swiftly.
I have a question.
I'll do my best.
To piggyback on what Atifa said earlier, what causes the bilocation?
Good question.
Your higher consciousness. You
So,
follow?
Can you explain
You
more?
have free will, or as we say, sha'a in Arabic, you have free will to choose between your inner or outer being, or your negative or positive entity, right? Just like when you decide to eat the salad as opposed to the pig foot, you've made a decision, and your higher self won. You can take that even further and have your higher self focus on another location, another reality, and it can take flight like sham. So when you go to sleep at night, you know you have an inner and an outer being. Just like you have physical eyes, you have an inner eye that's still seeing when it's dark and your eyes are closed. So when your brain goes to sleep and your physical form slumbers, the spirit that doesn't slumber raises up in vibration. And that ball of light will act freely on the flesh because it's no longer involved in the internal jihad or the war inside battling like negative, like a good and a bad angel. So the light travels up to basically your spinal column, and it goes up the first chakra, second, third, fourth, goes breastplate or malachite, the fourth plane, to the laryngeal seat, pineal gland, to the crown molar. And every night it raises up in vibration at the mouth of the etheric tube, inside the temple, the place on the side of your head, next to your ears, eyes being limited to the soul, causes the etheric tube, this thin cobweb-like aperture, to expand in the opening like a woman dilating to give birth. Then the real you travels out of your head or temple into that hollow tube, or tunnel, as described by many people. So that when you travel and flying to India or back to Georgia or wherever it is that you go in the spiritual realm to visit your children, or back in time to when you were youthful, or visiting a restaurant, or whatever you do, you have bilocated. You follow me? And you do this all the time. When you gave us the experience about your OBE, that you went through like 10, 12 walls and you dropped down to the street level and walked into a restaurant, if you recall, and I asked you, you said you saw the people and you said they could see you. Well, you have to understand that aspect of you was conscious, right? Oh,
Right. Right.
now the question is that the body you left on the bed, was it conscious?
No, it was not.
Okay, then that wasn't truly bilocation. That was OBE. You follow me?
Okay.
But what Ark did
Sure.
was bilocation because she was conscious in the bathroom and she was conscious walking up Anukas. She was also conscious walking up the hall. You follow?
So was it bilocation when I was sitting on the
Well-
couch?
Where attention goes, energy flows. Go ahead.
I'm saying, so was that bilocation because I wasn't, that's what I'm saying, I wasn't thinking about being someplace else. I was right there.
Okay, that's what I'm
I
having
didn't have
difficulty.
intention.
I'm having difficulty classifying it as bilocation. But it seems to me
Yeah,
that
okay.
your consciousness went somewhere else and wasn't present to witness your daughter giving anything to your grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
You follow?
So, right. So are you saying that's bilocation or it's not?
Well, I say that it was just a time lapse sometimes we lose time, and that was it.
Right, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You follow me?
Okay.
Can it be dangerous?
You're a very
That's what I'm
complicated
saying.
being.
There's no explanation. It's just like I can recall sometimes throughout my life as a child where there's time I can't account for, and so that's
Me too.
time I can't account for. That's what I'm saying. There has to be an explanation for. Oh, that's just time that was. Where was I then? That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'll give you an example of it with me. Is I used to do a lot of peddling as an Ansar and an Awabian. And I would drive, for example, from Millersville to Dublin or to Macon, Georgia, 2 or 3 times a week. And I know how far it is and how long it takes. But I could get to driving to Dublin and it says, 85 miles to Dublin or what have you. And the next instant, I can see a slave woman on the side of the street dressed like in the 1800s, the same woman. As soon as I passed by her in her tattered clothing, the sign would say, "Welcome to Dublin." Do you understand?
Yes.
And I would be driving into the city, blown away and totally confused. Jump time, right. And I wasn't aware of what happened in the interim, or if anything did happen. You follow me?
Right.
In other words, if you didn't see that happen, the interaction between your daughter and your grandchild, maybe you weren't there to experience it. How you say, I don't know child, my mind was someplace else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But, okay, so you're saying that the possibility, because, things, for me, there's an explanation or, spiritual, something happened,
It did.
Cause and effect, something happened, so that's what I guess.
All I can do is give you examples of what may have happened because I wasn't there to share that experience with you.
Right, but I understand and what you're saying, and it resonates with the experience that I had. So I have done that as well, traveling on the interstate from Chattanooga to Atlanta and seen a sign that says 100 miles, and then I don't know if I blinked or whatever, and the next thing I'm pulling up in my driveway.
Right.
So,
wow.
Yeah, I get that, and like I said, I received that whole explanation, but
jump time.
Losing time, yes.
Well, I don't know if you can lose time because time itself is not reliable. It's not real.
Mm-hmm.
You follow me?
Right.
And they even know that phonetically. What time is a construct. Let's look at it. Let's look at the planet Earth and the solar system.
Mm-hmm.
The Earth is revolving around the sun. You see that in your mind?
Sure.
And but the Earth is also revolving on its axis. It's spinning on its axis while the whole thing is revolving around the sun. Well, the side of the Earth that's facing the sun, we call that daylight. You see? And the side facing away is shadow hour. Right? So that as it turns, when the part of the Earth that you're on goes into the shadow, you call that evening and darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And you calibrate the difference in those two states of light and darkness by time. You call it was daytime or night time. You understand?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're using that vernacular. Now that means that you're saying there was 12 hours a day roughly and 12 hours of night. Which really means the Earth was facing the sun 12 hours and facing away from it 12 hours. But what if you were on another planet that was revolving faster or slower on its axis? So that's not true time. Do you understand?
Sure.
Your time on earth is being calibrated by your perception of being exposed to the sunlight or being in the shadow of the sunlight. It is a will for this new nation. That's not really, no, it's not like a will within a will. Well, I hear you though. But, there's really no time. It's like a DVD that you have spinning inside your player, right? And you're watching a movie. You go away and somebody else is watching it, half the movie plays, and you missed the first half. So that might have been 2 hours for a 4-hour movie. You following me?
Right.
But if you hit rewind and go back to the beginning and watch it again, are you really reversing time 2 hours? See, what I'm saying is time is not moving in any real linear sense, like
right.
from back to front.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the clock on the wall, you see that there's a central pin that the hands are connected to, and time is not traveling back to forward. It's actually just going around and around, like the DVD and the planet Earth. It's just going around and around. Do you understand? What goes around what?
Comes around.
That's right.
So
there's no such thing as time. Let me ask: if I took you in space, out of this solar system, and away from stars into the blackness of space, and you were looking down on the sun and the earth, what time would it be for you out there where I took you, and you were no longer under the sun?
There would be no time.
That would be absolute. The time would be now.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And that's what time it is now.
So, for me to miss time or be out of this narrative, if you will, or this thought process, I'm unplugged at that moment.
Yes. And I've been that way many times. I've been out in the vastness of space looking down on Earth and the moon. And that tranquil place, and there's no time. Like I said, even phonetically.
Right.
When you say then, what does that mean? Is that past tense? Yeah. Or can you say now then? Present tense.
Right. Right.
Or can you say, now when I graduate, then I'm going to start get my real job? Future tense. And people have a tendency to marry time to distance, which is also an illusion.
Right.
Because if you say, how far is it from Texas to Atlanta, and you say, well, that's 400 miles, or it takes me a day and a half, or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, how you traveling? I was doing 70 miles per what?
Per hour.
Per hour. So it doesn't matter whether you calibrate the distance by time or whether you do it by miles. It's the same thing. You understand?
Sure.
Miles per hour. Do you follow me? So that when you were traveling and then you were 100 miles away from Atlanta, and then you found yourself pulled up in your driveway, you lost time. If that was true, you also lost miles. You follow me?
Right.
What about distance? You say, where is it? Where is it? It's over there. Or it's right here. These location to describe distance. But if you take the W off where, what does it spell?
Here.
And that's just like now. And you see there, over there, take the T off there, what does it spell?
It's here.
Right. And even if you supposedly die, you go to the where after.
The hereafter.
Right. So everything is right here and right what?
Now.
Right.
That's the reality. Everything else is mere illusion. You're not even traveling, just like the hands on the clock. So when you see a person walking down the street while you drive by, that's only an illusion. It's just like on the old cartoons, they would draw one figure of Mickey Mouse, and he's juggling balls and walking. And then they would do another frame. His foot would be moved up a little bit more, the ball a little higher, then another frame. So that if they took the deck and went, it would look like he was moving and juggling balls. You follow what I'm saying? But the deck would be still in your hand right there. It wouldn't be going back and forward. It's just like the clock or the DVD. It's not moving. You follow me?
Sure.
So there really is no here or there or now or then. Well, it is only now. Here and now is the reality.
So, Messiah, I have a question.
I'll do my best.
That's something like the Matrix, being caught up in the Matrix.
Well, it could be, yeah.
Okay.
So to piggyback on that, what the brother just said, so another version of me, what happens, like when I don't know even how to word this or put it in words.
Take your time, that's all. It's in you. If you conceive of it, you can explain it.
Okay. There are different versions of me on different realities.
Vibrational levels, right.
Yes, of existence. So if or when I go to the vibration that another form of myself is already there,
okay.
Does that version come to where I am or no?
Well, let's look at it like you go to sleep and then you have a dream.
Okay.
And you dream you're in another reality.
Okay.
You know how sometimes you see friends and relatives and they don't look like themselves, but you know it's them because they have the same attitude, a character, essence.
Yes.
Right? And you know what, so you should look in the mirror next time you go and see what you look like.
Okay.
But let me squeeze the elephant in the thimble and say, be aware that the Amun in the dream state is real, much more real than the one on the phone. But you here on the physical plane on the phone are not necessarily cognizant as her as a real being. You follow? But she exists there on that plane, and that's her home. But you don't necessarily know her as a real being. In the same way, that Risk is on the planet Risk in the 19th galaxy Ilion, not just separated by a distance of 76 trillion miles, but also in another dimension. Riskians teach their children that we don't exist, that we're not real on Earth. And the reason they do that is because we teach our children that they don't exist. You follow me? But they actually exist. They actually exist in another dimension that is as real or realer than this one. In other words, when you look at your clock, and it's going tick tock, tick tock, and the hand is moving around and around. Think of yourself and your reality here, solid, actual, and time bound, is that we exist on the tick, and the angelic beings or spiritual beings exist on the top. The top is where the counter adjacent etheric world resides. Or in music, a rest and a beat. A rest and a beat. The beat is the music and the rest is the pause in between. But time is still passing, whether it's the tick or the tock. They say it's 60 seconds in a minute, right?
Yes.
How many tocks would there be, though? They don't count them. Wouldn't it still be 60 tocks? Yes. You follow me?
Okay.
That's why you have 60 minutes, right?
Right.
But then they say you have 60 seconds.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So that if you had dinner and it was good and you asked for some more, you would be asking for what?
For seconds.
That's right.
But what about the first?
That's right.
That's
the tick that you reside on right now. That's what you call reality. It's no different if you look at the periodic chart with 99 physical elements. I know now you got, other elements, 114, 115 and over, but 99 to keep it basic. And the first element is hydrogen 1, right?
Yeah.
Which is the lightest physical element that they can calibrate as existence, even though there's only one electron in the first K shell. It's an incomplete atom. But helium, 2, is really the first element that they can consider as exists. Because to qualify for existence, you need certain criteria. You need to be able to smell it or taste it, feel it, see it, or weigh it. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But now when you take hydrogen and fill it up with a balloon, you can know that it exists because it has volume. The balloon expands. But if you take the balloon and put it on a scale and let it loose, how much will it weigh?
Nothing.
That's what you call it.
The balloon, yeah.
So, in essence, you classify hydrogen as almost nothing, right?
Right.
But there's another side to the chart. It's the etheric chart on the right-hand side that has ether 1, ether 2, ether 3, on the other side. That's below hydrogen 1. You follow me?
Right.
That has particles much smaller than an atom. So we'll name that side nothing. But denotes N-O-T-H-I-N-G, or no thing. And the side that we have the elements numbered on as S-U-M-T-H-I-N-G, or the sum of things, because every one of those 99 elements has an atomic number. So what I'm saying is that angels exist on the right-hand side of the chart that you call nothing, which is actually something without its atomic number.
And the higher vibration?
Yes, higher vibration. In the spiritual realm, because it exists, but it's not detectable to you. Like a silent whistle that a hunter blows, you stand next to him, you can't hear it, but a dog 50 yards out, his ears pop right up. Because the frequency is above your frequency range. So when you have a pet in your house, a dog runs into the corner and he's growling and barking, hair all up on his back, and the corner is empty right? You think the dog is having a nervous breakdown? No.
No.
That dog's ears perking up because he can see and hear something that you can't, that's beyond your visible spectrum, your light spectrum, or beyond your audio, your hearing range. That dog can see something in that corner that you can't see. He ain't losing his mind. You understand?
Right.
So you have to be aware of the fact that there is a whole reality that exists on the top. The counter-adjacent world to the tick, where the angelic beings and spiritual beings reside. You follow me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to turn it every way I can to make you all see it.
So, what does that, sorry to interrupt, does it mean that...
Say it again now. Slow down and pronounce your words because you have a heavy accent.
Yeah. Does that mean that the dog has something that we human hasn't? They got some...
It's just more sensitive and it's more acutely aware, and the creative gifted it with a spectrum to see things that you can't see and to hear things that you can't hear that are beyond your range of perception, right? But you should be aware of the reality that just because you can't see it or you can't hear it does not mean it doesn't exist. So when you're standing outside with 30 people and 5 of them see a craft and they're in agreement and keep pointing at it excited, but 25 of you can't see it, that don't mean they're going crazy. Have you considered the 5 people might be more spiritually sensitive than you?
Right.
Some people see the stars move. If 40 people out of 50 see it, and 2 people don't see it move, that doesn't mean the 40 people crazy or they lying. That means that somebody is not quite as spiritually sensitive and perceptive as the group. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Are you with me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Follow.
And that means that the people that can see the stars move, they're raising their vibrations. They walking with me, starting to take this long walk on a short path, and they're in the process of transformation, like from a caterpillar to a butterfly. They're raising back up into deities. They're spiraling up, turning themselves inside out in the perspective of what they are. For example, when I say inside out, when you arguing about the choose between the salad and the pig foot, it's your carnal self or physical self arguing with your higher self, but God inside the temple. And your inner being is much more powerful and aware and sensitively conscious than your outer being. For example, you have physical vision, but your vision right now is restricted to the parameters of the room you're in. You can't see past the ceilings, walls, or floor, can you?
No.
But if you close your physical eyes and go within and use your mind's eye, you can see your car parked outside in the front of your house on approach, your mother's face, or the best friend on the playground in 3rd grade. And it's not just memory, because you've had spiritual experiences or dreams in which you saw something take place, and then a week later, you saw that accident or whatever unfold. You told the person next to you, I saw this in my dream a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, John, when you on the Isle of Patmos about to write the book Revelation 2,000 years before it happened, I want to know, were you taken up in the spirit on the Lord's day and saw it a week before it happened because there's no time in the spiritual realm? Star mover? Can anybody hear me with your good ear?
All right.
Yeah, Kim, I can hear you.
All right, now. That's the difference
I have
between carnal and spirit. Go ahead.
I had a question. Amun, what is the difference between OBE and biolocation?
Well, it's not necessarily a difference, except that you have to, let me say, you have to have a OBE in order to biolocate. They're both, they're differences without a distinction. You understand? Because you can have an OBE and not bilocate. You follow me? In other words, you can have a dream and travel to India and be present there, but your physical body is not conscious at home in bed, and you don't, you know what I mean? It's not conscious at all. You follow me?
Yes.
Because bilocate, the root of that word is bi, which means two.
Yes.
If you bilocate, then you should be conscious of both in both locations, right?
Correct.
So that you can have an OBE without bilocation, but you can't have bilocation without OBE.
Okay.
Not trying to confuse you.
Okay, and my other question was, what is your take on what they were saying about the so-called drones in New Jersey?
Jersey and around that, yeah. I think that they're bigger than cars, and the main thing that caught my attention is when I see crafts, most of the time I see jets and helicopters, Black Hawks, circling around them. Now, there was a time a craft, a PC craft came to my house, and I controlled it for a guy named Darius Palmer, one of my disciples, and it rose up to the top of the trees and came over here, and we videoed it. And I have the video available for anybody that wants it. But, and there was no police cars or helicopters around at that time. But what I felt was strange about those, what they call them drones, is that they never mentioned that there were helicopters or government agencies involved whatsoever.
Right.
And I know if you can see it, with your physical eyes, is being detected on radar. You follow me?
Yes.
And so that they have a way to know it's there. So what my thought is that if they're not interacting with it or messing with it, is because they're cognizant of the fact that they're dealing with something beyond their ability to handle.
Right.
And when they say leave that guy alone, I wouldn't touch them with a 20-foot pole. They know that that's beyond there, and they just let you go on the fish. you follow me? That's right. Whether you know it or not, you beyond you off their register. Out of control, baby.
Right. And my sister had a question. She wanted to know, what is your take on the Pope and the Vatican saying they're about to open a portal on Christmas?
My take on the Pope opening up a portal is it's going to be one to hell.
Right.
Tell your sister to Google the Alps. What's the name of that project? It starts with a G.
The Goddard Tunnel. The Goddard Tunnel.
Tell your sister to Google Goddard Tunnel. YouTube. Tell her to do it now. The Goddard Tunnel.
She's doing it right now.
She'll find out that all the presidents and dignitaries of all the countries and kings and queens, etc., they met there in Sweden at the Alps. The Christianist multi-billion-dollar project where they bored a tunnel all the way through the Alps. You know how big that mountain chain is? That was a serious project. All the way through there. And the purpose for that is, and nobody's supposed to know about it except the white man. You won't see any black people in the video footage. And the reason for that is so they can summon up the devil. Or I would have your sister flash back to 1966, when the Pope of Rome visited the United States for the first time in history. They called that the year of the child. Look it up. Should have been the year of the children, right? But he was here, the overseer. He was here to oversee the incarnation of the birth of Damien Thorne, one of the Antichrist, in the Dakota House in New York in 1966. To give her a clear vision of the Pope's activity in the spiritual realm. Who are you with, Pope?
You.
At the same time, I want to give your sister a view into the handiwork of the Most High. Tell her to write down and look out the Pope in the Vatican on all fours, kissing 100 black African toes. How many YouTube?
She seen that. She saw that.
Okay. So what I'm saying is he's by low key. In other words, his mind is on the devil, but he's stuck up in the Most High. This clown, he playing with himself. He ran out the middle of the street, put his hands up under his feet, and he tried to use muscles to lift himself up 3 feet off the ground and hold it. He's playing with himself. He wants us to believe in a Superman that's out there stopping trains with his strength, with his feet ain't sliding. I don't care if he's squeezing the bumper until it's thin as a piece of paper. Why wouldn't his feet slide if a train hit it? Or a truck? The Pope is a Superman that's sticking his chest out when you empty a 45 Savage Cook 45 automatic in his chest. When the gun is empty and you throw that at him, then he duck. Bullshit. No, bullshit. Bullshit. That's a paper tiger. The devil is full of shit. It's full of shit. Now, what y'all got to do, it's incumbent upon you to walk with me. I'm the last elder. So that I can help you raise up your vibrations so that when this final conflict comes, you can meet him on the battlefield of the soul. You want to meet him where he can't reach and he can't win. What you don't want to do is be out there throwing rocks and bottles at tanks. You don't want to be on the physical plane. That's the devil's playground. You don't want to be playing with the devil down there. You understand?
Yes.
You want to fight? Bring him to your stomping grounds, to your wheelhouse. Now, when I said I was the last elder, I'd like to prove what I say. Please go to your holy tablets to chapter 6, tablet 4.
Which one was it?
Right? Chapter 6. Just a minute. Tablet 4. 160. Okay, that's going to be on page 473. You go into chapter 6, tablet 4, verse 167. If you don't have a holy tablet, look up the PDF. Just Google The Holy Tablets by Dr. Malachi Z. York, comma PDF, and it'll come right up. The Holy Tablets, Dr. Malachi Z. York, comma PDF. It'll come right up. And those of you all that have been getting spiritual packages from me, you should have the NG on the Holy Tablets on a disc, and it's their entirety, color pictures and beautiful and easier to work than the actual book.
What's the page?
473 in the softback.
173.
And the softback is 473. But you're going to go to chapter 6, tablet 4, verse 176. 167. Are you all there?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Chapter 6 of the Holy Tablets, tablet 4, verse 167. And behold, Melchizedek will be the head of the 24 elders who existed before. And afterward, in the last generation, there will be another Melchizedek. That's Panabab Yanun, the first of 12 elders. He's the first of the 12 elders. You see that? 169. And the last of the 12 elders will be head of all, a great archpriest, the power, the word, and power of Anu, who will perform miracles greater and more glorious than all the previous ones, to the exclusion of none. I'm the last elder. Go to chapter 19. Chapter 19, tablet 6. Verse 313. That'll be page 1648 in the softback. Chapter 19, Holy Tablets, tablet 6, verse 313. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, you there?
Get in there.
Yes.
Behold, the Son of Righteousness, that's Malachi, stands before you with the scroll of Malachi. That's these holy tablets. That rebukes the liars for their transgressions, and who will prepare the way, for the Messiah, by turning the hearts of the fathers to the sons, and the sons to the Father, or else I, Malachi, will strike the earth with utter destruction. Now you are ready to move on towards the next level, and ready to accept what I was giving you originally. Remember, he kept telling you about the return of Jesus and all this. Who's the Nawabi in Christ? Count them not. A teaching that none can stand against. You were the meat that are here to dumbfound the wise. And so we are at the beginning again, the Sufi ancestors, only now we are Sufi under the Amun, the ancient mystic order of Melchizedek, the beginning of their ends. You can't be fooled by any religious doctrines of any kind. No, not nowadays. You have your first tool, this holy tablet. Not someone else's interpretation like the King James Version, your own scripture that will dispel all the lies, causing all false things to perish, making the truth come to light. Right? Let me speak to you of my arrival. Now I'll go back a few pages to verse 165. Chapter 19, tablet 6, verse 165. Malachi speaks. Let me know when you were there. You just backed up a couple of pages.
There.
All right, 165. It is my voice that roars with the sound of many waters, saying these things. I say unto you who are faithful and true, I am the Melchizedek of all the holy prophets. Allah has sent me to give good tidings, to prepare the way for HaMashiach, or Al-Mashi, the real Messiah. He kept telling you, I'm not the Messiah, and to show you things which must shortly come to pass, and prepare a way straight for him. For I have declared it in my very own scroll, the scroll of Malachi. Do you understand? So, this is the truth being revealed to you tonight. Again, for those that have an ear to hear, let them hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Revelation 3:14. Until the angel of the church of Laodicea writes, saying these things, the Amun, faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of God. I swear by the stars. Next question.
I have a question.
I'll do my very best. Did you get a hold of Cheryl?
I'm sorry. No, it's Anne.
You have her number, right? Her phone number.
Yes. No, I haven't got her phone number. I did email her, though.
Okay. Can you do it again, please? Okay, what's your question? I'm sorry.
Yes, I will do. If I got her phone number, I will do, but I haven't got a phone number.
Yeah, I asked you all to exchange numbers since you're both in London. I love Cheryl, too. Go ahead.
Yes, you did.
Yes. Your question was?
If you can answer me this, what exactly is the Ark of the Covenant?
The Ark of the Covenant was something inlaid with gold, made with acacia wood. That's really a communication device gifted to Moses and Aaron and Levitical Levite priest order as a communication device, right? You follow me? In order for man to be able to communicate with the Elohim. It was kept in a sacred tent. Right now, the location of it is in Ethiopia, inside of a temple, where they have a special volunteer chosen brother that dedicates his life to standing guard over the Holy of Holies, and he doesn't leave the building once he enters till they carry him out. Mm-hmm. They feed him through a window. Right? Mm-hmm. And the white people that pretended to be Jews, they got together a military force and attacked Ethiopia to steal the Ark of the Covenant. And they killed over 800 Ethiopians. But those brothers and sisters fought valiantly and got on their hind legs and dug in, and all their weapons, them fake Jews. The Bible says there are those of you that say they are Jews, but are not, but of the synagogue of Satan. Those Ashkenazim, Sephardim Jews, Khazars. They're not Jews, those are white Europeans pretending to be you. But they killed over 800 Ethiopians, but the Ethiopians would not let them. They didn't unhand that ark.
Yes, that's what I thought. Because there's only people who's got permission, and they haven't got. And also,
and I'm gonna tell you something. They better be glad that they put their hands on it. The Ark of Covenant is so powerful. It's so powerful that it can only have 4 men in front and 4 men on the back carrying it on rods, and it can't never rest on the ground because it will destroy the people on the ground. They carried it in the battle to defeat armies. The Ark of the Covenant is guarded by the Most High, and it's powerful.
Yeah, very.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what causes?
And those Jews in Ethiopia are black. Let me say, those Jews in Ethiopia are Africans. Of course, they're black. But they were what you call the children of the tribe of Israel. Now, I'll show you that the Israelites were black, because back in the scripture days, Abraham had a son named Joseph. Out of 12 sons, he was the son that his chosen son. And his brothers were jealous because the father cared more about Joseph. And to show that he cared more about Joseph, he gave his son a multicolored robe to wear. And that was the end of it, the last straw. They couldn't take it. So they kidnapped Joseph and dropped him down in a well, a deep well, and left him for dead. But a caravan headed to Egypt went for water, and they discovered him in the well and pulled him up sick but alive and took him to Egypt. He stayed in Pharaoh's house because Joseph could decipher dreams. And he grew close to Pharaoh until he ascended to second on the throne, vicegerent over Egypt. He was a pious man. And when he was in Pharaoh's house, his wife used to attack Joseph because she wanted the young man, and he refused. And one day she got him so hot and heavy, he ran out the front door. And her in hot pursuit, she snatched and grabbed at him and tore his robe in half. Then she called, like a white woman, called the court and accused him of trying to rape her. And the Quadi, or the judge, was wise enough to say, no, Pharaoh, your wife is lying. Because you'll notice that his robe was tore from the back. He was running away. And that Pharaoh brought him up even closer. And his family, his brothers, there was 7 years of famine. And Joseph was over all the granaries in Egypt, because he had a dream and told Pharaoh that it was going to be 7 years of drought. And Pharaoh believed him. And they stirred up the Egyptians, did 7 years of grain in all those big granaries, enough to feed the population of Egypt over 10 times. And when Abraham and his 11 sons came to Egypt with their hands out to beg for some grain so they could live, they were brought before Joseph on the throne. And they didn't even recognize, they didn't know it was their brother. They couldn't tell Joseph apart from the rest of the Egyptians, because the Israelites are Africans too. You see what I mean?
Yes.
And Joseph gave them all the grain they needed to sustain themselves, and it humbled his brothers. They finally gave in and said, yeah, we see why Pop liked you and chose you, because, yeah, we'll give it up. You different. But, these things are not just stories. And you got to remember that the Most High left a historical record to show you in life how he deals with rebellious people in the overthrown cities. When you look at Pumapuku and Sodom and Gomorrah and the world before Noah and all the cities under the sands and under the seas, how they look like rubble from an angry child smashing them to bits. These were all examples of what happens to the rebellious people on earth. He destroys them. And we're at that time again. And America refuses to bow down. The fourth empire refuses to bow down. So it's going to meet the same fate as the first, second, and third empires. It's going to be destroyed and brought down. The war this time will be fought on American soil. And she'll taste of the devastation that she inflicted on so many others. Because the stench of their works has risen up to the nostrils of God. That's right.
I wonder what happened to Joseph. Well, I wonder where Joseph is, what part of the world he
What do you mean now?
is now. Yeah, where is
I'm not sure where he is now. All I know is that he too will be remembered for all times, and he is a permanent, a firm seat in the kingdom of the Most High.
Yeah.
Okay? I will suggest to you that as far as the 144,000, many of you light workers are reincarnating again. Like myself, this is my third time back. Elijah Muhammad came back 3 times. Malachi comes back every time. I can prove that to you in the Holy Tablets as well, in chapter 6 if you want to see. But let me say.
Yes,
let me say that, okay, who was I trying to show you came back? Now I can't come back every time. I was talking about somebody else. In regards to Joseph, the Most High sent 124,000 prophets, 315 apostles, 113 messiahs, and 1 Mahdi, Ahmed. Add that up with the apostles, and you round off to roughly 144,000. So I'm suggesting by force of numbers that the 144,000 that I'm coming here to resurrect and reawaken are actually 144,000. And they're very much different from the rest of the population. They're cut above the rest of the people in this world. Can anybody hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
You heard.
Yeah, in what way? In what way, though?
Yes.
In the way that Jesus said that one day you all would do greater things than him.
So it's a prophecy then.
Yeah.
I have a
Greater
question.
things.
I have a question.
Greater miracles. Yes, what's your question?
To go to heaven, is it true that you have to gather people, like get your own?
You have to do what?
Like go out and gather people?
Yes,
And
you
bring
do.
them?
Not get your own.
Right, and bring them.
The way to stay out of heaven is to think as an individual. Every time you think of a divine act, use the word we, not I. That's what say Gabriel made talking to Ahmed. I did this. I gave you that. No, you have to do it as a collective. When you start thinking as an individual, you're on a bullet train to hell. I don't care how it appears to be to you. And I've sensed that, Zybri. Trying to get your own, as you say. And you remember what I told you about hell? The one above and the one below. The one below they couldn't get to that food because they had a 6-foot fork and knife strapped to each arm. In the middle of all of the abundance, they couldn't get to the plate. They were wretched and drawn and broke down and sad and dying. But in heaven, they were all energetic and shining and full and happy. But they too had a 6-foot fork and knife strapped to each one of their arms. But they had a different mentality. You see, they were reaching across the table and cutting the meat and feeding the one across from them, and they reciprocated by cutting their food and feeding them across, so everybody got full because they thought about their brother and their sister and not just themselves. That's the difference between the inmates of heaven and the inmates of hell. The ones in hell got to get theirs, me. These are black and white devils. I hope I answered that clear for you, son.
Yes, sir.
Don't forget it.
Sorry,
Yes.
question.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
I know your
Once
tone.
you collect, I love you. Once you collect the 144,000, once you collect the 144,000, and they have the seals on their forehead, does that activate their powers, or you activate it?
No, the seal is going to act as a protection. Read the book of Revelations. They're going to be creatures. I met one. They're muscular. Some of them look like locusts, but they have a sting that'll last for thousands of years. They're going to attack and tear them people up, except for those that have that seal in their foreheads. They won't touch them. They won't touch you. But everybody that was thinking as an individual going to be on the MENU, the menu. Welcome to the house of pain. Because I never knew you.
Oh, that sounds like the worst thing I can ever imagine.
Say it again.
I said it sounds like the worst pain with those scorpion or whatever.
Yes, right. It is terrible.
Myself.
It is.
Sounds like the worst thing I can.
And it's only symbolism that John used because he couldn't describe the things that's going to be happening to you, but I can. I saw it. I know, for example, that there are beings that's going to take some on crafts, draconians, that they take and stick tubes up a man and a woman's butt, up their penis and vaginal, down their throat and nostrils, and they pump all the fluid and blood out of them and put them in vats. Then they pump a solution into them, a green solution. And they get into a kind of a stasis state, but that pain, you can't describe what they're going through. Then they take and bring them into a big meat locker where they got chains hanging from the ceiling, big chains and grappling hooks. And they hang them up on those chains with their feet off the floor. That hook is behind their skull, hooked in their skull, and they hands tied behind their chain behind their back, and their feet can't touch the floor. And they close the door and walk off until they get hungry. And when they get hungry, they walk back in there and cut off a piece of thigh or leg or arm or face or whatever it is that they want, delicacy to eat that day, and they go cook it. And that green substance inside of you, like a lizard, that his tail gets chopped off or his leg, it keeps going back. It keeps going back so they can keep eating on you forever. So you can't stand and hear them claw pins coming up the hall when you know you're going to go in that door with no emotion in their eyes. They just decide what they want today.
Supposing they ask for forgiveness, supposing they plead for forgiveness not to do it.
Suppose they didn't do it?
Supposing that the people that they try to take ask for forgiveness and ask the Creator not to take them.
Suppose the people ask for forgiveness?
Yeah.
No good. Because now is your time to ask for forgiveness, and you show that by your actions. Are you donating to this mission? Are you posting posts up to try to help wake up the 144,000? Are you writing testimonies about your experiences in class? Are you participating and giving your all to the mission? If not, on that day, I'll tell you, I knew you not. That's the truth. And I love you. But take that with you. John 8:32, know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Will a man rob God? But you say, how can I rob God? In withholding of tithes. The Creator doesn't need sustenance, but His messengers do. And His mission does. Kufu, the brother's here working on a computer right now, drove all the way from Florida. Brought me another computer, and he just donated $800 more to the mission. What are you doing?
Wow.
Are you earning your seat? Oh, Parasa just donated $150. Atifet Sky, she just donated $300. Katat donated $200. What are you doing? Anna Nukas and Harry donate everything they have to spare every month. And I, of course, give 100% of everything, including me, to this mission. So what are you doing to earn your seat? Or are you doing the devil's work in God's name? Now, I'm just talking I'm talking to everybody. In fact, that you send out posts. It's not too late for you to answer our call. We really need your help and support right now. I love you. Amun-Rayay as a servant to the 144,000.